All right, everyone. We're going to get started. Welcome everyone to our next episode of In Conversation with a Vaidya. We are talking to Dr. Meenakshi Gupta today, to Vaidya Meenakshi Gupta today. Thank you so much, Meenakshi ji, for being here. It's great to have you here. Very, very thankful for your time today, which you're spending with the CTA community. For those of you who are new to In Conversation with a Vaidya or to the CTA community, what we try to do in these sessions is really understand Vaidyas and how they approach their practice, and talk to them off the cuff about contemporary issues, their approach of dealing with a variety of rogis as well as their specialties. So I'm very excited to talk to Dr. Gupta today, and Meenakshi, the typically, we'll keep the format pretty open-ended. I'll ask you some questions, and we'll also have the audience chime in and share their questions as we go along. Michelle, who's one of the CT organizers, will help us with some of the questions and managing the flow of questions. So, sounds like it's about time to get started. All right. Maybe we can start, Meenakshi ji, with talking a little bit about your practice. So I know that every Vaidya has sort of their own way of how they look at Ayurveda and how they apply that in their practice. So can you share a little bit with us about your practice?
So I've been in practice from almost now 20 years. 20 plus years, I would say that. In United States, almost 18 years. So I'll start my journey when I landed here in this country.
Right.
Because the way we used to practice in India, it is totally different as compared to the way we practice here. Scope of practice is also different. So more focus on, as we know that in Ayurveda, there are 3 sub-pillars, right? All the Ayurveda students, I'm sure they know that there are 3 sub-pillars. Ahar, Nidra, Brahmacharya. Ahar means diet, Nidra means sleep, and Brahmacharya means control use of senses. So these 3 pillars I work on first.
Okay.
So I focus on the diet as a medicine. Then I focus on the sleep, because if we see that these days we all have a really busy life, right?
Right.
Mornings, say 7 or 8 a.m. till 7 p.m., majority of us are like running here and there, multitasking and all those things. So the diet part is very, very important, because it has to be like a conscious diet. So in my practice, I mostly focus on the diet part. Then comes your lifestyle, where it is how well you use your senses, as well as your sleep, your exercise, everything combined in that. And then comes your Ayurvedic herbs or the supplements. And the last is the therapies in the form of Panchakarma or the single strand therapies. So that's what my practice is. And I also now I have incorporated a little bit of Western nutrition part also, because last time when the lockdown happened, so luckily I got an opportunity to get the certification from Stanford for the nutrition, which I completed with 4.5 months. And now I try to incorporate that as well. So that's, and also I'm a faculty for various colleges all over the globe. So I teach also, mentor students also, helps them with the internship as well as with the education as well.
That sounds wonderful. That sounds great. And I'd love to talk to you a little bit more also about your mentorship and how you work with students. But we'll definitely get into that. But okay, to follow up a little bit with what you shared about your practice. So did you always have, this idea that I want to focus on these three pillars, or was this something that evolved once you started, or when you moved to US? How did that happen?
So during the graduation, which was like a Bachelor of Ayurveda Medicine and Surgery, the curriculum was combined. That time it was always like, okay, luckily, at that time, I belonged to the family where half are doctors or half are architects. So I got a chance to work with my aunt, who is a actually very famous gynecologist in northern part of India. I belong to north, and at that time I was very happy to learn about how the OBGYN in the Western world works. But after joining the MD, the whole perception about Ayurveda, I would say, it changed. Before coming to United States also, there I actually learned about the importance of ahara, nidra, and then I started focusing on that. Because if you see in a broader aspect, ahara is directly related to your digestion. And here we say in Ayurveda, gut health is more important.
Right.
And right, and then the nidra and ahara and the brahmacharya
Right.
also related to your mind also.
Yes.
And there is a connection between your gut, your physical body, your mental body. So all things are more important rather than focusing on, okay, how the ashwagandha works or how the brahmi works.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Then during that time period, I started my practice shifting towards more towards these three. And obviously we need the help from the herbs also and the therapies also,
Right.
but more towards that. Yeah.
Got it. That's wonderful. And I really love how you really focus on these fundamentals before really going into a very, and it sounds like it's a more lifestyle focused approach versus a herb focus. Is that, would you say that's accurate?
That's accurate because if we say day-to-day life, also Shruti, majority of the diseases nowadays, it is related to our lifestyle. So that's what I feel in my practice, that in that way we can help people more when we talk about, okay, waking up, why it is important to wake up early and sleep on time.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm curious, when you, I mean, as an Ayurveda student, I appreciate this and I try to follow this. But also, as a, as you said, people are busy in their lives. It's also hard to follow it. So when you, talk about these things with your rogis, what are some of the challenges that they encounter when in trying to follow these practices, and how do you try to help them through that?
So it's always like a first the habit.
Mhm.
We have to change the habit, right? So I always suggest them the major challenge is if you give them the whole protocol in a single day,
Mm.
and then it's like a mind boggling that where to start.
Right, right.
So I always find that is the biggest challenge, and then the time constraint. And another factor is if somebody has, I see a lot of Western doctors also in my practice
Okay.
who are like working as a ER doctors. There is a no choice that they can sleep in the night because that's the where their life starts actually.
Right,
So those are the challenges. Then how to incorporate Ayurveda, because the sleep is also important for them.
right.
Morning around 7 o'clock in the at home, I cannot expect them to be stay up and follow the all the charyas which Ayurveda has mentioned.
Right.
So then, according to the here there comes the rule of the application of the satmya, how
Mm.
your body adapt to that.
Right.
So then you build the protocol on that. That is one challenge. And another challenge is scope of practice, which I miss a lot
I,
here,
right.
because there are certain things which you know that the client or the rogi can get more benefit out of that,
Mm.
and unfortunately because of the laws you cannot suggest those things.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in your practice, what kind of yogis do you see? What kind of conditions are typically people coming to you about?
So I see, I would say it is a diverse, all kind of clients I see in my practice, from kids to adults. Kids mostly with the ADHD and learning disabilities, because that's what my profile also says.
Okay.
Clinical research was on enuresis and the ADHD combined together.
Okay.
And a lot of patients, otherwise, I see with the pain management
Mm-hmm.
related to various like arthritis, gout, or disc issues,
Okay.
those kind of patients, and the mental health.
Okay. That's very interesting. So, how did your interest come about in ADHD, for example, with the kids side?
My MD is in pediatrics, Balrog.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so during that, when we were learning about that, my guide, he was through the, I would say, the government of India.
Mhm.
Every guide runs certain projects. So his project mainly was on ADHD and all. So
Okay.
under that, we had the liberty to choose something
Right. Right.
under that. I would say the vast subject of ADHD, we had the liberty to choose one subject for the further research, clinical research. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I got into that. Okay, I want to do the ADHD one. That time I didn't knew that how many kids I will get. But once got into the clinical research, I was amazed to see that
Mm-hmm.
it was like my clinical data was supposed to be on 150. Once I was reached there, then also it goes beyond 500
Oh,
within
wow.
2 months of span. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you
Yeah.
were able to find a lot of cases for data.
Yeah. I didn't have to make a single effort to find the cases.
Right.
Once it was out in the like a through the college,
Mm-hmm.
automatically all the patients started coming. Yeah.
So, and with ADHD, what have you found to be very powerful with Ayurveda? What kind of approaches or what kind of practices have you found to be helpful?
So one thing is the Sattva Vajay Chikitsa in kids, especially
Mm-hmm.
counseling. That is very, very important. And here comes the counseling, not only with the kid, with the parents also.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, if we see, sometimes I see the where the kid doesn't have the ADHD, but was being labeled as a ADHD because there is no time to take care of the kid.
Mm.
And when the kid is, it's like empty. If you have a lot of time, then the kids are naughty by nature, and then they start doing the mischievous things,
Mm-hmm.
and then the trouble starts. So
Right.
once you start engaging them in a constructive way, you
Right.
see that their mind shift happens with the
Right.
parents also and with the kids also.
Right.
So
When
there
you no, go ahead. Go ahead.
so there comes the counseling part with the
Right.
parents, as well as with the teachers, with the
Right.
kids, how we can make as a team and to bring the best out of that treatment protocol.
Recorded. Got it. I guess one part which I always find interesting is that there is such a huge role of behavioral change and counseling. And when people come to see Vaidyas, are they expecting that, you think, that they will have to work on those things, or is it like a surprise and they try to resist it? What is your sense of that?
They never resist it. They never resist it. The only challenge sometimes I feel that when, as a part of the, I won't say the counseling, because that word is also a legal issue.
Hmm. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Because for that you have to have a either psychologist you or the psychotherapist license.
Okay.
So just by talking to everybody, but yes, many times the parents also resist. They say, no, our kid is already going through the counseling.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
It
Yes.
is not that counseling. So it
Yeah.
is how
Yeah.
you can create a, I would say, the calming environment at home.
Right. Right.
That that counseling concept is totally different when it comes to the Ayurveda.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Very interesting. Um, and I think again related to this whole idea of like lifestyle, right? People are busy, and when what kind of lifestyle approaches do you sort of lean on frequently? What do you observe? Which are the most powerful ones that you have seen? And I know that there's so many, and the cases vary. But are there certain go-to practices that you have?
Uh, Whenever any client comes to for the consultation, my first question is, okay, what you have for breakfast?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can answer quickly within 1 second, 2 second. That means they are being mindful. They are paying attention to that.
Yeah.
And majority of the time, it is 90%. They will be like, oh, kind of like a thinking. So
Mm-hmm.
that means whatever you had, you never paid attention. Either you were in hurry, or there you start then.
Mm-hmm.
that
Okay.
that is the thing where we want to first start being mindful,
Mm-hmm.
present in that moment. Leave the laptop, leave everything, and just focus on your food.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there is a no connection between the stomach, your hands, and your mind and your mouth, then how we can improve the digestion? And digestion is the key factor here.
Right. Right. Okay.
So that is the first when I started correcting the lifestyle, and then comes the sleep is also major
Mm-hmm.
thing, because I have seen in my own health. Few years back I was doing radio shows, TV articles, full practice teaching, also various things, and it was like used to sleep by 2 a.m, wake up again by 5:36 a.m. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of like gave me really major pushback towards my health.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I realized this is not the way I can function for a longer duration.
Right. Right.
So again, I started correcting towards my sleep. After that, shorter duration was that almost 2 years I messed up the sleep part.
Mm-hmm.
And I always give my example, because when you open up your example,
Right.
then it brings more credibility that what you are saying.
Right.
And also, like waking up early in the morning and sleeping on time, it is important, because natural detoxification, if you say that the physiological process happens in the body, certain physiological process, and it requires ample amount of time, and that happens only when the body is resting.
Right. Right. But this
So
is, I mean, I have found this very challenging personally to change my sleeping cycle, and also with the yogis that I've been working on. Any tips here for what works to get the wheel moving in the right direction and then to keep
I
it?
always suggest that gradually works on 15 minutes first.
Got
So
it.
1 week, sleep 15 minutes early, wake up 15 minutes early.
Okay.
So that way, slowly, within that time span of 3 to 4 weeks,
Right.
we should be able to push at least 1 or 2 hours where we were and where we want to
Right.
wake.
That's
Yeah.
a great idea. 1 week, 15 minutes. Very
Yeah.
nice. Okay, got it. And then with your own lifestyle practices, right? You mentioned you had a busy, I mean, you teach, you practice, and you're also learning, right? So how do you, what are in your day-to-day routine, what are some things that you rely on personally to keep you grounded, to keep you in balance?
So I would say I have my own rituals. First of all, I try to follow whatever our Acharya has mentioned. The sleep is where I don't compromise now.
Hmm.
So 10:30 max.
Hmm.
Most of the time I go to bed by 9:30.
Okay.
Half an hour I just talk to my younger one. And then morning 5:30 is
Hmm.
I'm up.
Okay. Okay.
So that is the one which I follow religiously, no matter what. And it has become so much now in my system that my biological clock also, it's like if I want to sleep on Sundays, little later, no way, I'll be up. And
Right.
the other thing is, I practice deep breathing regularly. Instead of sitting for half an hour, I do like after every 2 hours for 2 minutes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
in that way, throughout the day, I'm keep on focusing on my breathing also. And that also, over the time period, gradually, I have built that practice.
Right.
It's
Because
hard.
I mean, remembering to do this every 2 hours, that you cannot start there, right?
No, it was challenging. It took me approximately a couple of months to
Mm-hmm.
practice that. And now my schedule is also, I try to fix the appointments according to that, where I get that time. And I have in my office also, there is a one quiet space where I sit down and just focus on the breathing, nothing else.
2 minutes every 2 hours.
2 minutes every 2 hours.
I love it. I think
Yeah,
you've broken it down to these little pieces that can be implemented and are practical in day-to-day life. That's
that's what I teach my clients also, students also, that you don't have to even find the any special place. You
right,
just, even if driving also, if
right,
you remember the timings, then just focus on breathing.
right,
It won't take too much space, it won't take too much time. 2 minutes everybody can afford, right? And the
right.
benefits are really good, because
Mhm.
at the end of the day you will feel rejuvenated, you won't feel tired,
Right,
because your breath is directly connected to your parasympathetic nervous system.
right, right. Very true. I we'll keep going through more questions, but I just want to drop a note to all the listeners to see if they may have any questions, any comments. Please do share them in the chat, and we'll take them in a few minutes. So please do share. And just I think continuing on this current topic of lifestyle practices, are there any other ones? So you mentioned sleep, you mentioned breathing. Is there anything in your daily rituals that you try to follow?
Eating on time, that is also very important. Try to take 2 meals unless until I'm really hungry. I don't want the food to become like a emotional thing.
Hmm.
That's that I try to, because that is the one thing which I always focus with my clients also. So
Right,
whatever I teach, I practice also.
right,
So 2 meals and maybe one small snack in between, as a part of third meal, you can say that I do that.
right.
um, there are certain things which I know are not good for me personally.
Mhm.
So it's like Nidan Parivarjan, means you abstain from those things. That also I follow in my day-to-day life.
Okay, okay,
And weekly, definitely I get Abhyanga, nice Abhyanga for 2 hours. That
okay,
is also I always follow,
okay,
combined with the steam. I
okay,
have a therapist also who does for me. So
okay.
that these are the small things which I follow for myself.
Right.
Rest, like the uh, uh, on and off nasyam also, then the gandush, um, you can say oil pulling,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
also, but that not on regular basis.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
basic focus on sleep as well as diet, the timing of the diet, and when I eat, my family knows it is not like a chit chat time.
Yeah.
That time everybody focus on the diet only. Yeah.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I'll move on from like the lifestyle practices. I haven't seen any comments come in yet. But
Shruti, there are a couple questions.
sure, yeah.
One from Om. Dr. Gupta, how do you convince yogis to pay attention to lifestyle when they have a Western mindset on herbs as a mainstay of treatment?
So it's again the gradual approach. You don't tell them everything in one sitting and tell them that, okay, go ahead and do this. Nobody likes that. So I tell them, okay, how about let's focus on one thing only. And then after a week, I ask them to connect through the email. And okay, once you incorporate that practice, let's move on to the next practice. So it takes at least couple of months, but slowly, gradually, they are willing to adapt. And I remember that a few years back, there was a one person came for the consultation, and she herself is a medical doctor, and hers was like, I came because one of my cousins suggested your name. I don't believe in Ayurvedic medicine. And that was a kind of like a big alarm, because being a Western doctor, if she doesn't believe also, that means how I can convince her to take all the herbs or anything, because mindset plays an important role in the treatment to see the results. Positivity needs to be there, faith needs to be there on Ayurveda, and that was not there. So I just kept on listening to her without expecting that whatever I'm gonna tell her later, she's gonna do anything. And in that 1 hour of conversation, I found that the sleep was the biggest challenge for her. So I just told her, do the marma points I taught her before going to the bed, on the feet, on the forehead, on the temple area. And I told her, when you go to bed, just focus on the breathing and try just for 1 month waking up early. She didn't want to change the timing of the sleep. So I didn't focus on that. She was ready to focus on waking up early. So when you are waking up early, obviously, ultimately the body is going to fall asleep early also. So she focused on that, and I didn't hear from her approximately 1.5 months. And I was like, okay, she didn't follow anything, nothing. And all of a sudden, she sent the email that whatever issue related to thyroid and so many other things which she was facing, she said, I'm surprised to see that the sleep correction made me quit all the medication, because she herself is a doctor. So she was able to do that.
Oh, wow.
And then she she still comes regularly now, twice a year for the Panchakarma. So then she started building up the complete, and she started sending the patients also, where she knew that it's gonna get benefit more. They will get benefit out of the Ayurveda rather than offering them the medicine. So that's how gradually you start. Pick one step where you see the weakest part is, and that also needs to be fixed within 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It requires a lot of patience at a practitioner level, as well as commitment from both, because sometimes you have to respond to, when you are in the practice for longer duration, you will see if your client or the rogi is how much willing to do. And with your experience, you will know that what the outcome is. So in Ayurveda, we say that Prakriti, right? Determine the Prakriti. And Prakriti comes with the Mansik Prakriti also. In Mansik Prakriti, once the person enters the room, you start focusing on the Prakriti without judging them. And that gives you an idea of where to start it gradually. And then they will automatically, once they will start feeling the benefit, they are willing to adapt more.
Thank you. Sandy's asking if you can show the mama points that you gave to your clients to do before sleep.
So it's first is the center point, okay, the Stapani Marma. So you just focus on that. If you want to use a little bit of essential oils, you can ask them, but be very careful with the essential oil. I normally suggest them that do the only sesame oil, because sesame oil is one of the best oil in Ayurveda. So just gently press, and along the brow line, just ask them to press randomly. 4 points, we need to find the 4 points. And then on the temple area, the side is the temple bone, temple area. So gently just do this practice. So start from again here to here. And on the feet, no matter if they don't know the points also, then also the entire foot, if they can do the massage for a couple of minutes also. Once they start doing, if you tell them 2 minutes, they will be happy to adapt that. If you tell them, okay, 10 to 15 minutes, it's a lot of time. But once they fall into love with that practice, automatically, then the time doesn't matter for them. Then they will increase the time depending upon how they want to do it.
Thanks. I'm feeling relaxed already, just doing them as we're talking. We have a couple more questions. Shruti, do you want to go ahead with those or wait until later?
Let's maybe take them a little bit later. I do want to talk a little bit to Dr. Gupta about mentorship, right? This is something I find so amazing with your practice, that you really take a very deliberate approach towards mentoring students, and you actively work with students in 1:1 settings as well as in group settings. So can you talk to us a little bit about how you work with students, what works, and if there are people here in the audience who may like to work with you, what would be the right way to engage with you?
So I practice with mentor a lot of Ayurvedic students, as Shruti said. So basically, it depends upon what you want out of that mentorship. Majority of the time in my practice, I have a few students who love to send me the case. If they come across any client, they will fill out all the profile and they send it to me. They will do everything from the diet towards the herbs also, the therapy also, everything in that database. And then we set up the timings, and I go through each and every case beforehand, and then we discuss. I don't tell them what to do. That's the thing. That, okay, you did this wrong or you did that right. I don't tell them what to do. I just bring them to the basic concepts of Ayurveda. What the Charaka has said, what the Sushruta has said. Open that chapter. Let's do it. And if there is a incorrect thing, they realize and then they correct that. So that's my way of working, because it's like everybody can give you the food, but nobody rarely will teach you how to cook, right? So that's one of the thing. And regarding the herbs part also, I always try to ask them, okay, at least open the Bhaprakash, which is the main book for the all the Ayurvedic plants, and see the properties of that herbs and see if that fits into the profile, if you are suggesting these. And in my practice, normally I prefer not to do the combination. I prefer to work with single herbs majority of the time, or the classical formulation. That's how I do. I won't suggest, okay, combine Brahmi, Ashwagandha, Dashmula, all those things to make a concoction. So I suggest, okay, let's work on, because less is always good. Nobody needs a list of 15 herbs combined together. So let's pick one herb which you think is the best for you. And then let's start working on that. Because money is also an issue for the many time in the clients, because Ayurveda is expensive. Not as compared to the Western, but Western is covered with the insurance.
Yeah.
Right? Though you pay the insurance, but the client won't get that concept that here you're paying out of pocket. Yeah. So, and then if we are compounding the herbs together, then also it's a challenge, because I am in Texas. I know in state of Texas, I cannot do unless until I have a insurance as well as the license to do that. So single herbs gives really good results. Or you can use the already classical formulations. And the second thing is, many students, they want to learn Ayurveda. We all learn in a different way. I'm still a student of Ayurveda, I would say that. Many times students ask the question, and that makes me open the books back and see what I missed. Right? So there also, if somebody wants to learn like I have a couple of students who wanted to understand the only 3 chapters of Ashtanga. So I mentor there also. Case studies in the education also, and also how to do the practice here. That also I offer.
Very nice. That's wonderful to hear. So, what would be the right way for people to reach out and find out, whether you're available or more details about pricing, like things like that? What would be the right way?
Um, you can write an email. It's Meenakshi at AyurRoots.com.
Okay.
Info at AyurRoots, AyurRoots, AyurRoots.com.
Okay.
That's the best way to start, because that information is not on the website.
Right.
It depends upon what you need and how much time we need to build that.
Okay.
And as a student, it's not like that any teacher will expect a lot of the money part also. So it's kind of like whatever we can do, where you will learn and can become a better practitioner in your practice.
Got it. And is there, do you do 1:1 or do you do group?
I do one-on-one also, I do groups also. And various students, if they are local in Texas, they come to the office also to learn how to do the consultations, how to do the therapies also. So that is also the internship kind of part is also there.
Okay, so the internship is more in person. If they want to observe you working with Rogis, then
Yes.
it'll be in person. Have
Yes.
you considered doing that in an online setting at all, the internship option?
Yeah, I did. I did the virtual option also. I did
Mhm.
that uh, with the students, couple of students.
Yeah. How
For
does that work? Did you feel it works?
it works, but not to that extent, because when you are in person, it works in a better way. The thing is, because in my practice, if I have to tell my client that we are doing this, then we need the permission. Mutual consent needs to be there from there, and the time issue is also there.
Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
I fix like for that type of setting, I fix like couple of months. We did in December, because December is kind of like a little slow for everyone. Everyone goes for the holiday, right? So during that time period, I fixed 1 month. Okay, this is the time we are doing virtual consultations for the students, and that was a we got really good response out of that. Yeah.
So one thing in that, I mean, I think what is challenging here is that, there is the patient, there's a rogi, there is the Vaidya, and then there is the student, right? So bringing all three together, that is the hard part. But sounds like you've tried it and it has worked, so that's great.
It worked. The only challenge was like the mindset. I won't say that it is like when there is a no nadi parikshan, that means we didn't learn. But the nadi parikshan is one of the component of pariksha. We have
Right.
Dashvid pariksha, right? So 10 mode of assessment is there. So
Mm-hmm.
nadi pulse analysis is only one part of that. Unfortunately, we have built up the practice around that everything is related to the nadi pariksha.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
sometimes students feel that we didn't do that in virtual consultation. So then you have to teach them this is how it is, just kind of like a, I would say, marketing for the practice.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, it has become sort of a marketing thing, and people have gotten very attached to that idea. Yeah,
Yeah, even the patients also.
yeah.
Many times, if you do the initially last year when we started the virtual, everybody was like, then how you are going to assess the nadi? Okay, then you start teaching them, okay, it is not the nadi only. There are a lot of other factors also which plays an important role.
So I do, we have about 15 minutes left, and I know Michelle mentioned that there were some more questions. So Michelle, do you want to take some of the questions?
Sure. Owen was asking about ADD and HDA, going back to that with ADHD and ADD in kids and teenagers. He wanted to know, how do you handle this, especially when the children aren't forced with their parents' goals and expectations? How do you get them on board?
Um, it is always going to be challenging in the beginning. Uh, I'll give you one example with the two brothers. Um, one was approximately 10-year and another was 4-year-old. The older one got diagnosed with the ADHD first. And it took me 2 months almost to get to talk, to bring his attention towards me. Every session, it was like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and all gone. He will touch here, he will run there, won't listen to the parents, and it was kind of like a battle. So a lot of patients require on the practitioner level to work with those kids or the adults even, I see. Because then in adults, especially in teenagers with the ADD, you see they go blank. Too many things. And I have made a protocol where there is a writing part is also there. So when they start going blank, I tell them, okay, let's focus on this exercise. Let's build, there is a different exercise where they have to join the dots and to build the picture. So that also works because that also brings the attention inward, and then they pay little attention once they are done with that. And another thing is, first you focus on the parents, that the kid with the ADHD, you cannot expect them to sit them longer duration. So if the consultation is going to last for 1.5 hours or one more than that, then one parent needs to take care of the kid. Maybe don't bring him in first or her in. Just one parent needs to be with me to talk, to tell me what's going on, how the things are, what is improving, what is not working. And then later on bring the kid in when there is we know that, okay, only 15 minutes we need to see the kid maximum, because sometimes 15 also can be a little challenging time for them initially in the beginning. But once you start working on them, then slowly the time duration, you will notice it will increase and they start taking interest in that. The kid whose example I was giving, that even 2 to 5 minutes was very hard. And later, after the 2 months, it was like we started doing Shirodhara also, Abhyanga also. And he used to look forward to every week that, okay, let's go to doctor's office. So that was there. And after the completion of 8 months of treatment, he was completely out of that ADHD spectrum. So it requires a lot of patience on biggest commitment is between you and parents, because their expectations are going to be high. So set their expectations. Okay, don't expect anything for 3 to 4 months, maybe longer also, depending upon how big the issue is. Right. And when you give this picture, then okay, they will try to not focus on what is not working. They will more focus on what is working.
Okay, that's makes a lot of sense.
Shagun is asking if you find it easier to make your lifestyle changes through group programs or on an individual basis, because so much of what we advise yogis, is applicable to everyone: sleep, breathing, eating on time, etc. And yet there's so many things that need customization and individual attention.
So the group also works very beautifully together, because then you make them, it's like you build the accountability partner in that group. In my workshops or the seminars, I always feel happy when that type of groups comes and you see better results in that setting as compared to the individualistic approach. Because individualistic approach is sometimes the person can have a major fallback because of monotonous routine you are started following and you don't know that how it is going to work out. But when you have the accountability partner, so when I do the seminars, I build the Facebook group or the WhatsApp group and ask them, okay, day to day, tell that where you focused more. And then when they see that the other person have achieved this gives them the motivation also. Okay, I need to work on that. That person already have achieved that. Kind of like a little competition, but it is a healthy competition because it brings a lot of motivation also. The group setting is always really good. It works very well.
Yeah, actually, I always feel that with any behavioral change, right, like bringing the community element, whether it's within their current community or connecting them to other people who are going through the similar challenges, can really help people make the change, right? Like that's why we look for gym partners and running partners and things like that, right? So that makes a lot of sense. We don't seem to leverage this enough from a health perspective, though. So that's very good to hear.
Mira is asking if you feel the Stanford nutrition program that you took was worth it, and were you able to incorporate it and integrate it in line with your Ayurvedic principles?
It was worth it because it opens up so many other aspects also. Uh, though it is little bit of opposite to Ayurveda, what we do in Ayurveda, that's what I found. In corporation wise, again, there are challenges like you have to have a license for registered dietitian to build up that type of diet plan. But yes, it will help in opening up because Ayurveda food is not only rely on the khichdi or the all other things which you see normally in the literature. So Ayurveda food is wherever you are living, try to adapt the local food. And how the local food works in the different type of body types. There you can combine your expertise as a Ayurveda practitioner in the nutrition aspect, and then you can work in a broader way. So that way you can combine and build your integrative practice. But as such, if you say that the diet plan, that is that has limited scope of practice in that.
So just on that, what made you choose that specific program that you did from Stanford?
I wanted to get an idea about the nutrition aspect, though we learned during the MD period also, but that is more kind of like a Indian nutrition. So here I wanted to understand, because a lot of time in practice, you will also see once you start practicing that people are more relying on calories rather than the digesting food. So when they talk about calories, if you don't know that concept, yes, through the articles you know, but how the micronutrients, macronutrients work, how the digestion exactly work through for those micronutrients, that is a good course. I would say that one should take.
Okay, got it. So it's more you are trying to connect the dots between Western nutrition and what people are used to, and with what you're trying to do with Ayurveda to help connect those dots for them.
Connect dots also, and as I said, the Ayurveda diet is not only related to the khichdi.
Yeah.
That is the first concept, is that eat local. That is in Ayurveda's 5,000 old years science, it has said that whatever is you are locally you are eating, that is going to become satmya to your body. And here we always tell majority of Ayurveda practitioner, okay, eat khichdi, which is not a local.
Yeah, true. And this is a big change for people who are not used to that diet. And
Not
then,
used to that diet, and even the vegetables, fruits, a lot of things are different. So to learn those nutrition component, one needs to have the better understanding of the local food. So that was the point where I thought, okay, this is also missing in my practice. I need to learn about that. So yes, connecting the dots as well as to give more benefits to the clients.
got it. Okay, makes sense. Michelle, any other questions?
Yeah, Annalise is asking if you're currently holding any Panchakarma sessions at your clinic, and are you open to take referrals from different cities nearby?
Yes, I do take different referrals also. And yes, the Panchakarma session is going on in the office. Actually, right now, 3 Panchakarmas are going in the office.
Okay.
The April week, somehow, this time I didn't even do the workshop on the Panchakarma. that somehow from different cities, Oklahoma, uh, in the morning it is like one client is from Louisiana, they are staying in the hotel. So yes, the Panchakarma session also, I'm taking virtual appointments also, and as well as in-person appointments also.
Very good. Any other questions, Michelle?
And just cycling back to one that came in earlier. There are so many dinacharya routines to practice. How do you start engaging your younger clients without overwhelming them?
So Dincharya, I always said, that starts with Brahma Muhurata. So just, especially in the younger clients, if you see the student based, that is not going to happen because their homework sometimes get finished around 2 o'clock in the middle of the night. That we cannot expect. But once they are out of the college, and if those type of age group we are seeing, then gradually we can build that practice of waking up in the morning. And looking at the current how we live, it's hard to practice practicality. If we see that, it is hard to practice all the forms of dincharya in a single day. One time I remember one of the clients asked me, if I do all the dincharya, she's a student of Ayurveda also, then my half day is gone with that dincharya only. So you focus on what we needed. Okay, if the person's digestion is weak, then maybe the oil pulling or the gandush, or maybe that is more important than rather than doing the application of anything in the eyes or the nose or the ears. So just focus on the small details, because digestion is directly connected to your oral health. Immune system is connecting to your oral health. And if the oral system, you see that there is a weakness, how's your oral health looks like? Yeah, you will ask the client, any dental caries or any dental work or infections, that will give you an idea of, okay, let's start incorporating that dincharya into the daily practice. And then rest of the dincharya, you can tell them, okay, over the weekend, if we can incorporate, because that is going to be the resting day, so maybe extra half an hour or 1 hour, small things, if they will make changes, but do gradually, not like all of a sudden if we give everything. First of all, even we can't follow everything.
Right. Yeah.
So that's how it is.
The cognitive overload. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Michelle, any other questions?
That's it for now. Thank you.
Yeah. So we maybe just before we wrap up, I guess last question I would like to ask is there a book that you have recently read, or may not even be specifically like an Ayurvedic book that you enjoyed or would like to share? Book, talk, or anything?
No, I don't remember. I get a lot of books, but there is a time issue always there. Another thing is, which I recently reading, is Ashtang Hridayam again. I got different version of Ashtang Hridayam with the Tika also. And I'm reading that because even to read one shloka, it takes at least 6-7 hours to understand each and every aspect of that, because it connected to the Sushruta also, Charaka also, all the Tikas also. So that I have started, like before going to bed, half an hour, I try to do that so that I can finish that.
Yes. Okay. Great. So we thank you so much for joining us today. I really enjoyed the conversation, and would love to, see more and more students from our community reach out and explore these mentorship opportunities with you. And in terms of, in the next couple of weeks, for all of you who joined in today, we do have some more events coming up. So we do community hours on the last Friday of the month. We'll be sharing more details about that soon. So definitely hope to see you there. And then we have a book club. Our next book club reading is in May, right, Shagun, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, second Saturday of May.
Second Saturday of May. And what is the book we're reading, Shagun?
We're reading I Am That by Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj. So hopefully more people can read it. It's not the thinnest of the books, but it's very nice.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And then, of course, we will have our next episode of In Conversation with Vaidya, and more details will be shared on that soon. So thank you, everyone. Once again, have a wonderful Friday. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Dr. Gupta, for joining us today. Really enjoyed the conversation, and thank you for your time, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and best of luck to everybody. And if you need any help regarding your studies, feel free to email me. And Shruti has my email ID.
I shared it in the chat, so I think everyone should have it.
Yeah, so in case you need any help regarding the studies or the book reference also, I'm always there to help you guys. Oh, all righty. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.